Call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. Ask you to join me in prayer, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we do come before you today to thank you for this day that you've given us, and Lord, for the many blessings in life. Lord, most of all, we thank you that we're able to have salvation through your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we thank you for those that work in this community to make it a better place, those that serve in the first responders. We just ask you to be with them and keep them safe. Lord, I just ask you to watch over the people in this community. Lord, we just ask now that you lead us and guide us during this meeting, that the things we do will be the things that are right, pleasing in your sight. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Gentlemen, if you was able to review the minutes from our February 7th regular court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott.
Second.
Second by Jeffrey. Any question, discussion? Amendments, changes? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Had one abstention, Pam. That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, something not on the agenda. I overlooked this and forgot it, but we need to get it in there because the Water District would like to take care of this situation here. Joe Richards is retiring off of the Water District Board. His term expires April 14th of 2023. And so the Water Board recommendation, and I think was a good one, was asked Larry Gomer if he would be willing to serve, and Larry has agreed to serve. So what I need is a motion and a second to appoint Larry Gomer to a 4-year term on the Simpson County Water District effective April 15th of 23 through April 14th of 27.
So moved.
I had two to say. I heard Myron and then I heard Marty. So we'll give Myron made the motion, Marty second. Any question or discussion? I'm tickled to have Larry serving on the Water District Board for us. So all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is kind of a cleanup situation to review and approve a contract revision with Graves Gilbert. This is because that Dr. Sutton's office, when we originally made this agreement just a little while back, was open. Now he's closed, and so now this is for like the drug screenings and stuff such as that. The terms and dollar amounts on it are the same. It's just a different provider doing the screening. So we need a motion and a second to approve this revision and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott.
Second.
Second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, I may need Bobby to address some of this, but we want to have a discussion about approving the Public Works paving list amendment, basically swapping Kenny Perry Drive and Charlie Butts Road, but I'll let Bobby explain why the swap and what will happen.
Yeah, when we approved the budget or the paving list for this budget, I'd put in 2 sections of Kenny Perry Drive on each side of that bridge, anticipating that bridge might be done this summer and we could resurface that. But I'm not sure when the bridge is going to be done. We haven't even got all our permits done. I think they're final ones we're waiting on, but I'm sure that'll be this summer before that gets done. So what I'm wanting to do is just take that money and use it in this budget year when they start paving. My suggestions for it, we're taking it out to keep in those same districts, is extend the portion of Charlie Butts we're going to pave anyway, and that would get to a joint of a newer section of road. That'd be the majority of it. But then also go back to Calvert, which we left a section of that undone, just basically because of the budget's the reason I cut it off. But go ahead and let them go back and finish that little section out too.
Okay.
And that would get the majority of the money. It may be just a little bit, not hardly balanced out, that'd get it close.
And then pick up Kenny Perry Drive in our next.
Kenny Perry, we could do in the next budget year, and that'd be after the bridge would be done.
Because the concern is if we pave it, and then they're taking all that construction work in and out of there to do the bridge, they just tear up
Right.
brand new pavement.
Tear pavement up.
So I guess we do need a motion in a second to make that amendment to the paving list.
So move.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Bobby. All right, ARPA funds. So y'all got information there in front of you. We've talked a lot about what we're doing, what's going on, what our needs are. You see, there's going to be a lot of things that will need to be addressed over the coming years. It's like everything else. It all takes money. Whatever you do, it takes money. But obviously, one of the discussions we've had has been this clerk's building. If the court's inclined, we could have a motion and a second to authorize myself and the facility maintenance supervisor to put together an RFP just for the design and engineering work on this building. We can take that back, take a look at it, look at those bids, see what we get. Once we get those bids accepted, then we will put it out for bid and examine. There'll be a lot of back and forth between all the parties involved that use it to do design work. We would probably incorporate at least 2, possibly 3 different review periods, like initial, then get the review, get the update back, review it one more time to see if there are any other changes. But we could put together that RFP and get that out.
So moved.
All right, so we got a motion by Myron to approve the RFP for the engineering and architect work.
Second.
Got a second by Marty. Any question, discussion? But let me see if we have question or discussion with these guys first.
No, sir. Good.
All right, Ron? Sure. No, you're welcome to come. We like all the world to hear you. I don't really know about all the world, but maybe the whole 20 people that'll watch the video.
Oh, there's more than 20. Trust
More
me.
than 20?
Yeah, there's more
Marty
than
says
20.
it's more than 20.
There's more than 20. You'd be amazed at how many people tell me they watch these.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I just want to document. Just so you know, I don't come from just like a paper good guy. I'm a general contractor, electrical contractor on an industrial level, so I have a little bit of knowledge of building. And I don't see why we need a new building. That building's perfectly okay. I understand the usage is different than it was. Well, it's the same usage, but you're bogged down, constipated, whatever you want to say, with paperwork. All those books. I went through a review of those books. I looked at a piece of property, wanted to know its history. Went up to the PVA, they go on a computer, they look it up. She finds a little card on her desk, brings it out, shows me what it needed. Then I went downstairs where she sent me to the clerk's office. Very nice people all the time. And I asked about the history of this building, this property, and she could go back about 20 years on the computer. After that, then you got to start going through the massive amount of books. And those are the ones that sit in the back. Same with the upstairs. You got to go through these books, and you go look up what you want, then you take the page out of the book, and it tells you to go to another one that was sold. You keep going back and back for a ways to maybe the 50s, 60s. And then you get to books that don't come apart. You can't photograph them. You can't do anything except sit there and copy these giant pieces of paper with lots and lots of words to write. It's quite laborious, and you can't even take the books out. To look at them are really pretty. It's all hand-scrolled, beautiful, but we shouldn't be playing with them. They're historic value. They should, all this stuff could be, you just go to your IT and ask him to have it all scanned into a computer. They could go all the way back to when we actually had a fire here and lost a bunch of them, which is still the same thing you have right now. So for moving forward, if you want to keep your history, you need to put all this stuff on a computer, on a server, and we could save all of that stuff. So the problem isn't with the building, it's with you have too much paper. You need a building to store paper. All this stuff you have to hold until the end of its life will all be gone by then. You'll have another group of people. That building you could free up probably 50 to 60% of that building by just getting rid of the paper that is so laborious to go through anyway. This county needs to catch up computer-wise. I know a lot of older people. I'm not one of them. I am older. But I do use a computer.
I wasn't laughing at that part. I was going to laugh if you was going, never mind. Go ahead, Ron.
I didn't say you rolled.
No.
I mean, it's just me.
I know. I'm with
It's okay. But I think you're making a mistake by wasting all this money on a building that's not necessary. You have another empty building on the squares, which you now have, and somebody has said it only has 5 years of value left in it. That building's going to be there long after we're all gone again. All you need is a place to store paper. And it can be one place. You can take all that paper that's in this building, you can take all the books that are in that building, put them into one building and be done with it, and then you can make that a nice building. And I understand there are some issues. There's some electrical, I don't know because I didn't follow up. You may need new circuits. That's okay. That's what he does for a living. And there's stuff like that. So I don't see the need to waste that. And you're going to put the county in debt with another bond. We
No.
don't need another bond. We're just getting out of bonds. You're not going to build that building for $2
let
million.
Let me hold you up there for just a second.
Okay, it's your turn. I won't finish.
Okay, hold up for just a second. As far as the paper storage, that'll be a discussion you'd have to take up with state government, not local government, because we're required by KRS to keep these paper documents forever and forever and forever and forever. We didn't invent that. We didn't create that. And I agree we do need computer backup. I guess we're working on computer backup, but even if we have that, we have to keep the paper documents. Secondly, we're talking about using the remaining portion of our ARPA funding, which was money that the federal government handed down to local governments, and then they tied them to certain uses. And so the commitment here is to do this with that funding, with no bond, no payment to the taxpayer of Simpson County. The money is sitting there to do this. So the other thing is, so since there are guidelines to what we can and can't do, how we can and can't do it, and you start examining, there's several needs we have. I could list out a few of them. We've talked about improvements to our park. We'll discuss that in just a second. We're talking about operating the fire department around the clock. We need to start working on widening some county roads. Quite honestly, we need to work on getting our county employees' pay competitive to.
Okay, but Mason, I'm talking about building. You're way out about 10
Right.
more paragraphs.
Right.
I want to finish I would like to finish this building.
Okay.
I don't want to stand up here and hear you blabber about something that you're going to blabber about in a while.
Well,
So it doesn't say that, I did take that step. I took the step that said, do you have to have those papers right at your hip? Absolutely not. You can put those things in long-term storage. I looked at this already. So you don't have to have them right next to the user if you have it all scanned in, because then you can go to one employee or that person goes in can say, I want to know about this, and they can just list off the pages in those books make copies and hand it to the person, they're gone in 10 minutes. You don't have to have them right beside you. There is nothing, and I did check, that says that you do have to keep those.
Yep.
But you don't have to keep them in a facility right next to the people that work with it. You can put it in another building. You free up the space in that building. A lot of space.
Yep.
So I'm done now. That's all I want.
All right,
Wait a second. You've got $2 million, correct, to build a building?
roughly.
You're not going to do it. There's no way you're going to build that building for $2 million.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. All right, any other question or discussion, gentlemen? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, moving on to budget transfers. If you had an opportunity to review those, and Nicole's got several here, just cleaning some things up. She's doubled down on payroll week and not able to be here because this is the payroll week that includes volunteer firefighters, and we were off yesterday, and the first half of tomorrow is going to be out for because we have budget workshop, DLG budget workshop. So she's scrambling to get, so I hope there's no major questions on the budget transfers. If there is, we may have to phone a friend.
She's watching.
Yeah. So with that, we need a motion and a second to approve these budget transfers.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by, is that Myron? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then the bills and claims, if we had an opportunity to review those, we need a motion and a second to approve those bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott?
Second.
Second by Jeffrey. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? I jumped past something that I guess we can tie back. We had discussion about wanting to get things in order for the park. Do we want to talk about some of that right now, or?
It's fine with me.
Okay, because I did ask Nicole about this. If we want to set some money aside for the park, we can absolutely do that. And we can put it on a CD so it can start building interest and be there and ready when they're ready to do something. We would just, I guess what we would need to determine is if we want to do that, is there an amount we want to do? And then she would then solicit the banks for what kind of rate we could get and bring that back to the court meeting to see.
Well, I see here that we've got, $726,000 in the CARES Act money left.
Right?
I'd like to see us put at least $1 million on a CD, including that.
Take that money,
Take that money and the
push
difference.
it to the million,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And put that on a CD and earmark it for the park. Or community center, or ever how we need to do
So,
that.
I mean, yeah, I'm good with that, and I guess what we would need, Scott, would just be a motion to authorize the county treasurer to get CD rates and bring
That's
them
fine.
back at our next
Yes,
court
sir.
meeting, and that we're willing, and part of that is we're gonna commit $1 million to that CD.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion to commit $1 million to a CD allocated for the park and authorize county treasurer to shop for CD rates.
Second.
Got a second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? Yes, sir.
That was CARES Act
The
money.
if you remember back during COVID, we initially got like 860-some thousand in CARES money. And we used roughly 140,000 of that to do something with the truck at the fire department.
Yeah.
And so we have like 720. So I want people listening today to think about, man, they're talking about this building at the clerk and they're talking about this money for the park. I want you to understand that nearly $3 million of the money that we're talking about today, the roughly 2.2 in ARPA money and the 726,000 of the CARES money, is money that the federal government sent out as COVID boosting, whatever their purpose for sending it out was. They sent it out to local governments, and the ARPA funding has a deadline on it. It has guidelines and a deadline. So anyway, so all in favor? I think we had a motion and a second, didn't we, Pam?
We did,
Any other question, discussion?
right.
Yes.
Will you send a letter to the city, and since we've set this aside to let them know what we're doing, since the park's supposed to be jointly funded?
I'll send an email to
50.
Kenton. We have the mayor and the
We'll have the mayor
commissioner
here,
being with us.
But if we're willing to do that, then hopefully the city will be willing to do the same thing. Because I haven't seen all the master plan, but I've seen part of it, and $2 million won't even begin to touch what they're wanting to do out there. So that's a
Yep.
several years in the process, but it would be a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think Lisa would mind me telling this. She said she had a group of people that was willing to help her do some fundraising for the park, and I've told her I'm committed to work with Denny to see if we can get any corporate sponsorship for some industry to put some money in. I mean, I don't know what'll happen there, but all we can do is ask. You ask, the worst thing you can be told is no. But yes. All right, all in favor? Did we already vote? I know we're still discussing.
You've not voted.
Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. Down to reports. Which obviously tonight is the chamber dinner, 6 o'clock at Sky. A week from today is the Extension Council dinner. It's also at Sky at 6 o'clock. It's a week from today. If you think you're going to attend that, either let Jason Phillips or call down to the Extension office and let them know they just need a count for that dinner. They didn't ask us, but do all of y'all know how to get a hold of Jason or somebody? Just let someone at the Extension office know if you plan to attend that. One other thing, and I mentioned this in a meeting a couple of meetings ago, but I don't think that I shared with you what we've done. The SHIFT program where we score the road projects that the state is highlighting, they give you a list of the projects that they're highlighting. So the way these worked out, number 1 ranking was the project to improve safety and mobility on US 31W from Kentucky 1008 to the North Industrial Park. Now that's the one where we had the meeting out there that night, but because it wasn't already budgeted, they suggested that if we score that as number 1, that could help drive the budgeting. So we put that as a number 1, as widening 31W out through there. Then number 2 was to reduce the congestion and increase mobility on Kentucky 1008 from Highway 73 north to North Franklin Street. And number 3 was to reduce the congestion and increase mobility along Kentucky 1008 from US 31W south of Franklin to Kentucky 100 west of Franklin. And then 4 was improving mobility by completing the Kentucky 1008 bypass around Franklin. The state seems to think that there can be a push to actually complete that bypass and they can get it done. Now, the thing you'll notice missing out of the top 4 is the traffic light and the turning lane down at 31W and 1008. But the reason we didn't score it again is because it is budgeted and they're in the design work on it now, and they claim that will be done.
Are they gonna take out the stop sign and red lights on the 1008 when they're done? If they would do that and put some turning lanes in, people ask why so many semis come through Franklin. if you've never driven a semi and you try to go the 1008 around from 31 to 100, it's hard to stop and start and stop, what, 4 or 5 stop signs and you know, your red lights through there. It's very hard to start and stop a semi going through there when you can come straight through Franklin and not have to stop if you hit the red lights right. So
True.
there's, if they, to actually widen that to a 4-lane and get rid of some of those stop signs and all through there would help the traffic a whole lot.
I can't tell you that they've committed, I don't know where they're at on that.
But it's hard to run a bypass through a subdivision too.
Right. Yes. Yes, it is. Another thing, and I've got it here, I'll be the one that'll have to sign this to send it in, but Lisa's also working on a $250,000 grant for walking trails at the park. It's an 80% grant, meaning that if we get approved, we'll get $200,000 in funding, and the park will only have to do $50,000 of it. She's put all the information together, but it has to flow through the county, so I plan to sign that grant application, and hopefully we get it. Here again, it's like asking for all we can do is send it in. The worst thing you can do is say no.
Yep.
So anytime we're having an opportunity, and the Brad is really good about sending out the information about what grants are opening, when the timeframes are. So, I mean, anytime that we're getting some, and I know Bob and Bobby and some of them can attest to it, I forward this information on, hey, is this something we can use? So we try to do it. If it's something that we can work and use, we try to do them. 2 more things real quick. This Friday, the 24th, at 11 o'clock out on 100, right across from Grace Road, will be the groundbreaking on the Trader Joe's project. The governor will be in town for that. If you're so inclined to want to participate in all of this, following that groundbreaking at 12:15, the governor will be at the Boys and Girls Club, and it's my understanding that the Simpson County School District, City of Franklin Water District, Simpson County Water District, and the Boys and Girls Club are all getting presented checks. And I go back again, all of this is tied back to the ARPA money that the federal government pushed out.
And it's election year.
Doesn't hurt.
There's that too. And that's all I've got. Myron, you have anything?
No report.
Scott?
No, sir.
Jeffrey?
We had a facilities meeting
Yeah?
a couple of weeks ago, and Bill went over some stuff about what needs to be done to the courthouse. Different window panes and stuff need to be fixed and stuff, so you probably already know about that.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kim Roberts talked about what improvements she wants to do to the bandstand, improvements and repairs, stuff they did. And then Austin went over, about the new clerk's building and about the old clerk's building, kind of both of them and what his stand was and what needs to be done, and up till we do anything or what we need to do, what his understanding was. So it was a good meeting.
Very good. Marty?
We had the equipment committee meeting this morning, and we talked, Bobby has talked about the new mower. If we make arrangements now to bring money out of his surplus into his budget, we can order one, but it'll be August before we get it. So Bobby, if you want to come up and discuss this, it will require a budget amendment and also.
Yeah, come on, we'll do it now and then we'll come back.
I think all of you have already had discussions at some point with somebody about these mowers. What it is it's what we call a boom mower, which has the trimmer on the arm, which we've had one in the past, and we actually, it literally fell to pieces after 20-something years of use. But we've been using the head-on excavator, which does not do, we're not happy at all with that. So Marty actually suggested last year, we wanted to know if we wanted to look at one of these. Marty and I looked at this Mower Max brand. Mason and I looked at the Intergreen brand.
Intergreen.
It's a good it's a large investment if you want to do it. My suggestion would be the Mower Max with the 2 heads and the system that we looked at. The quote on that is you might as well say $260,000 is 258 plus. That would be the machine with two heads, a 22-foot. If you're in favor of doing that, we have money in surplus that would more than cover that. But if that's what you'd like to do, then we need to start that process sometime, because that would require a budget amendment, which would take basically a month, 2 meetings to get that done. Now, I'm assuming that price was good through the end of this month. I'm sure if we told them we were going to proceed with it, they would probably be all right with that, but it would be an August delivery if you order it now. Like I say, that's 260, that's the piece of equipment which I have literature on, which some of you have seen, the two heads, the front lift, which will fit our attachments.
It would be my recommendation as chairman of the equipment committee that we go through with this. But it's more money than a tractor and a boom mower or arm mower on a tractor, but the lifespan, I would say at least double what that would be, if not more.
It's a lot more
So
equipment.
you're looking at spending a little more money up front, but you're getting something that's gonna last at least twice as long. So,
And I understand the Mower Max, that boom arm is actually built on the side of the machine instead of out front.
yes.
Yeah.
See, the one that Bobby and I went and looked at this Intergreen, and it's got that boom arm, but it's built right on the front, where the Mower Max on the front, you can get that attachment
Yeah.
that will work. All of the attachments that go on a skid steer will go on that. So you could use a plow. I mean, you could use, I guess literally you could get a snow plow to even push
Anything that
snow.
would go on a Bobcat or a skid steer would go on this.
So any of the attachments that we already have
Will
will
work.
fit on front of this. I
And
would like to
that
have
was
one on
another
the
problem
farm,
with the Intergreen. You could do that same attachment thing, but their attachments are all proprietary, meaning you got to buy all of their stuff instead of using the stuff we already have.
And you could also use it to actually, mow the right-of-ways, and you wouldn't have to do just trimming with it.
Right.
You'd actually use it to do
Yeah,
that if
there's
you
multiple
wanted
heads
to.
if you wanted to buy. What I gave you was actually two heads that we purchased with it, which would be the ones what I would think we would need to do what we do with. The rest of it might be extra.
Have any of y'all seen where they've mowed, like tried to cut some fence row lately and kind of what it looks like when they get done? See, this head here will kind of more or less just turn this to sawdust as you cut it. And there's what, 30 to 35,000 difference between this and if you just got an actual tractor with the boom arm?
If you went down to the basic piece of equipment with a 22-foot boom, this unit compared to the tractor, the sizable, you're comparing 190,000 to 25,000. If you were trying to compare the same arm.
Yeah.
225.
I mean, 220,
Yeah.
190 about 220.
So about
35,000,
35,000
yeah.
difference.
Like I
between-
say, it's more money in the beginning, but the lifespan on it is a lot longer. And plus with those tractors, you can't mow out front, and you got to put the extra stuff on the cab, or you bust windows out of them or whatever. So I think it'll be safer for the operator too.
So you can drive this thing up down the highway versus
24 miles an hour, just like a tractor.
taking your track hoe and have to put it on a trailer.
Track hoe will not move as you cut. You have to stop, stay still and cut and then move, where this would let you move as you go.
So we need a motion to, or do we need to wait until next meeting to do a
Well,
budget?
we could make a motion to approve the purchase, but Nicole will have to do a budget transfer to pull that money out of the road surplus and move it to a certain place. And
Do we need to do that? Do we need to pull the money out of surplus and put it in there before we do it? So we have the money there?
Well, she's going to want that money moved, you put a PO.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
not going to issue, we can't issue a PO if there's not money
I
there.
guess we
But
could
let's-
start the process and
So I was just wondering, do we need a motion to authorize Nicole to pull the money out of surplus and put it in, do a budget transfer into the equipment line item?
I mean, we can make a motion to do that, but we still have to make that move by a budget amendment
Yeah.
Okay.
vote.
I will, that price, there is So you're not bidding, they're not on the actual state contract. But what there is, there's some companies that have already went through that process that you buy through. This one's, I can't remember the name, buy something, Sourcewell's one, there's different ones. In other words, they've got, these prices have been approved by the state to purchase through this second company, no cost to us. The vendors pay the cost for that. So it is, and we can check into that if you want to more, to get more exactly, but it is set up where you can buy it through these companies without the bid process. You're basically buying off the state contract.
Okay.
But it's
And that price is only good to the end of this month or the
Well,
end of
he gave
March?
me a price at the end of this month.
End of this month?
I'm sure if you told them you were getting ready to do it, that they would, he's stayed in contact quite a bit with me, so I would think he would be open to saying they could probably hold that price. I don't know that, though.
I mean, I'm fine with it, because, I mean, we're going to need something to keep these right-of-ways trimmed up.
I move to,
No, I'm fine.
to authorize Public Works Director to lock in the price on this mower. And then we'll make the necessary budget transfers and amendments at the next meeting or whatever.
So we got a motion by Marty for the Public Works Director to lock in a price and get the county treasurer to put the budget amendment together. We got a second?
Second.
Had two at the same time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll take Scott's. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is that, you,
We have an ambulance board meeting at noon. We're doing interviews Thursday, Friday, and next Tuesday to find a replacement for Dale, which is leaving as director. Dale's done an excellent job, and I hope we can find somebody that replaces him and does just as good a job as what he does. Other than that, I don't have anything.
all right, sir, thank you. Counselor?
No report.
No report. Sheriff, anything? No report, sir. Austin, anything with the clerk's office? No report. Brent, anything with the jail? Same number. All right. Bob, anything with emergency management? No, sir. Chief, anything with fire department? No report. Bobby's good. Bill, anything with maintenance? All we need now is a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Got a motion by Marty? Boy, don't everybody second that one at once.
Now listen, we're not sitting here all day, somebody second that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Myron. All in favor, aye?
You can't leave for someone seconds.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Lord, I didn't think we were going to get a second on adjourning.